Alrighty, so it is that time. It's 7 o'clock. So I first want to welcome everyone to our first session of a webinar series. We're going to kick off our webinar series with the Office of Admission and Financial Aid Q&A session. So feel free at any time to send your question in through the Q&A window or through the webinar chat. We have a few guests with us this evening, so I'll first have them introduce themselves and give a brief overview of what they do, and then we'll get to the questions that you all have submitted.
I guess I'll go first. My name's Scott Schaeffer. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management, so I oversee the admissions office and financial aid office here at Marietta College.
And I'm Katie Fennell. I'm the Director of Admissions, so I work really closely with our counseling staff, specifically in the admission house.
And I'm Emily Shook. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Management and the Director of Student Financial Services. And my role at the college is to help students navigate not only the financial aid process, but any enrollment questions or retention questions that you might have.
Alrighty, so we have one question so far that has been submitted, and they would like us to explain the COVID-19 financial aid appeal process.
Absolutely. So this is a topic that's on a lot of people's minds right now. As we look at the economic impact of COVID-19, we know that families are having some really special circumstances that are impacting them. So for example, the FAFSA that students did for the 2020-2021 year were based on taxes from 2 years ago. So what the COVID-19 appeal email allows us to do is to take a look and talk with you about your specific circumstance where your financial situation may be different. So if you've been laid off, if you've been furloughed, if something significant has impacted your finances, you can send us an email at covidappeal@marietta.edu. And one of our specialists in financial aid will reach out to you to talk with you about your specific situation to determine if there's something that we can do on our end through the use of professional judgment to make a change to your financial aid that may be able to help you financially in the upcoming academic year.
Alrighty. While we're on the topic of financial aid, is it still possible to apply for financial aid and scholarships and things like that? How does that work at this time?
Absolutely. So it's not too late. We are still receiving free applications for federal student aid. That's called the short term it's called FAFSA. You can go to the FAFSA website, which is at www.fasfa.ed.gov. and fill out the 2021 FAFSA. And when you do that, you'll be using your 2018 taxes, federal taxes. We receive that application electronically, and every day we're importing those. There's still plenty of scholarship and grant funds that are available, so we are encouraging students to complete their application for admission and then do their FAFSA, and we will be able to send you a financial aid award extremely quickly, usually within a 3 to 4 day turnaround. So once you're accepted, we've received your FAFSA, we will get you a financial aid package so that you can begin to see what it would look like to attend Marietta College this fall.
Awesome. So when is the deadline, or is there a deadline for depositing? And is that deposit refundable if there happens to be any changes?
Yes, we're still following the May 1st National Candidate Apply date, which is on a Friday. If a person cancels or wants or needs to cancel their deposit after that date, we are going to work on an individual basis. And if it really is an issue, we have no problem, because usually after May 1st, it's not refundable. But we would work with the family and then refund them the money, that $200, if there's an issue. So we're being very flexible. And obviously, if you don't make your decision until June 1st, you know, we're still accept deposits at that time also. So we'd love to see a deposit by May 1st, get everything set in place so you can register and get yourself registered for orientation, which are in June. But we'll work on an individual basis. If for some reason something happens and the person cannot attend here, we'll work with them and refund their money then.
Gotcha. All right. So we have some people who are kind of on the fence. They were hoping to really take like one last look at Marietta, visit again. How are visits working right now since there's no in-person visit options?
Well, all our visits have gone virtual. So first of all, you can just go to the website, marietta.edu/visit, and then you click individual visit and you can schedule visits. We can have it where you can meet with an admissions counselor, you can talk to financial aid, you can sit in on a class. Now we are in our last 2 weeks of classes, and after that, of course, you can't sit on classes anymore. If you think you might want to study abroad, you can meet with someone in the study abroad office. Anything that you can request, anything that you can think of, you can request, and we can schedule those visits for you. And those of you, just so you know, Stacy, who's monitoring this session, is our visit coordinator. So she would be the one that would be putting that all together. So anything you would like to do, including even a virtual tour, we can get you that also.
Yeah, and again, that form that you'll fill out on the website, it'll gather information all about your availability, because I know right now with students doing online classes and parents working from home, their availabilities vary. So there's an open text field where you'll be able to put in your specific availability if there are definite set times that you're limited to. So don't worry at all about that. Everyone's been very flexible and willing to meet with students, because we know that decision is really important, and those interactions are really important. So reach out and we'll get something set up for you, so you can get a good final look and have a sound decision when you're choosing your college. We've seen some delays in the fall starting dates at some of the colleges. Is that something that we are aware of?
We are at the cabinet level, because I sit on the president's cabinet. We are discussing possibly, if we would have to delay the start. We do have some flexibility because we do finish a little earlier in December. And if we had a delay, we could possibly do that. This is a very fluid situation, so we're just going to go and watch as we go. The governor of Ohio is very proactive, and he comes on daily and gives us updates on what's happening. So we are really hoping that we can start at the start time that we were going to have, but if not, we do have some flexibility that we could delay the start term, still get a regular semester in that could end before we head off for the holiday season in December.
Great. And then is it possible to receive more merit aid if there's been a high school GPA improvement?
So that's a great question, and the answer is it depends. We award our merit aid on a combination of things, including high school GPA as well as test score, so either from your ACT or SAT. So anyone that has had an improvement in their high school GPA, your next step would really be to reach out to your admissions counselor, submit that information to them, and we will absolutely take a look to see if there is an adjustment for your merit aid.
All right, we have a student who has deposited and they're looking forward to orientation. So can you talk a little bit about when orientations are? Are they going to be in person? Are they going to be online? What's that going to look like?
Great question. Orientation is really, really fun. Traditionally, it is a day and a half, kind of an overnight program in the summer. So we do have 3 orientations scheduled in June, on June 5th and 6th. June 19th to 20th, and June 26th, 27th, I believe. As of right now, they are still scheduled to be in person, but we are kind of taking a look to see if we need to move those to a virtual format. We did have a virtual orientation last March that went really, really well. We had 150 some students get registered for classes, sit in on sessions along with their parents. So we got some really good feedback, and so we're actually having another virtual orientation in a few weeks, May 2nd. So we're excited to do that again, since students really seem to enjoy that and get some good information from that. So while we aren't sure if the summer dates will be need to move to a virtual platform, we will definitely be in touch with all of our students, so you know.
Great. And then once they have everything done with orientation, kind of all the boxes checked and they're ready to move in for fall semester, can you talk about when that is currently with what we're planning and what that kind of looks like?
Sure. So currently our move-in date for new students is scheduled for August 14th, which of course is fluid or subject to change depending on anything that we would need to make adjustments for, either through the state of Ohio or locally. But that's a time for new students to come in. It's about a week before classes start for what's called our home activity. And that's really some really unique opportunities for students to build some relationships with each other and with the faculty and staff and sort of get to know the campus a little bit more before classes actually start. So that is happening August 14th for all new students. If you are a student that is part of a fall sport, you may have an earlier move-in date and your coach would be in contact with you about those specific dates.
Alrighty. At this time, we've answered all the questions that have come in. So anyone, oh, we just had another one. Great. So we have some additional track meets scheduled if they go back to school in May, which could interfere with orientation. So if schools do start back up, they may start back up track meets. How do you work around conflicts with orientation?
Sure. So we would kind of work with the student, and that happens every year. Either a student is from quite a bit of a distance away, like our California students, you know, our Texas students who maybe can't swing coming to orientation and then turning right back around and moving in, or, you know, maybe some family conflict, things like that. We can work with that student. We would really, really hope that they would come find an orientation date where they could attend, just to get that experience, meet your classmates. Even if it is virtual, you will have breakout sessions with your incoming classmates and your orientation leaders. But if, again, this is kind of a crazy time we are living in, if you are not able to come to the remaining 4 orientations, we'll just make sure that you get the information that you need so you're prepared to move in August, and we'll have an advisor reach out to you at another time to schedule your classes and things like that. There is a really handy website once you have submitted your deposit that will walk you through everything that you need to do before you move in. It's called our Deposited Student Checklist. So it's www.marietta.edu/deposited-checklist. But it'll have like 5 or 6 steps, including, you know, creating your Marietta email address, signing up for orientation. It gives you a little bit more information about orientation on that page as well. How to fill out your housing form, you know, your medical forms, all that is right on that website. So especially if you are unable to make an orientation, that website's going to be really important.
And then if someone signs up for the virtual orientation on May 2nd, is it still possible for them to attend an in-person orientation if in-person ones are able to happen? Could they come to both?
Absolutely, yes. Student Life would love that. We understand that students want that kind of on-campus experience. So if we are able to have those June dates on campus, all you would have to do is just let your admission counselor know so we could just plan for you, make sure we have food for you, things like that. And so we also don't plan to double advise you since you would have already had your classes scheduled. But you can absolutely attend an in-person one if you would choose to. Just let us know.
And just to let you know, to sign up for that orientation, you have to do it by this Friday. So if by chance you haven't deposited, you can still deposit. We'll get you the information and you can sign up by Friday, and then we can go from there so you can come virtually on May 2nd.
Yes. Good point.
All right, we have another question here. So do we have a site to speak with other parents of students at the school to get their overview of the school?
Like a parent almost? I'm not aware of one.
No, I'm not aware of one. Matter of fact, I was just on a session today where I think we might want to launch, I don't know if we can do it this year, but next year, a Facebook site for parents, because The session I was in today, it says Facebook is the way parents will talk to each other and want to get information. So right now we don't have that. I appreciate the question. We do have an admissions staff meeting tomorrow morning, and we can talk about that, and maybe we can get that launched, or at least you can talk to other prospective parents, and then we can reach out and see if we can have some of our current parents go on there. That's a great idea. And if that happens, as long as we have your email on your son's or daughter's account, we can make sure you get that information.
We do have I just want to throw this out there, a student Facebook page. The student has to be a deposited student to be in that Facebook group. But it's been really fun to see students connect that way and share pictures and interests and connect with polls, and people are sharing their Snapchat, handles and Instagram handles. And, again, without having that on-campus experience, it's been really cool to see them connect that way. So that's a good idea, having a parent, kind of a prospective parent one as well, I think.
And then can we talk a little bit about how to find a roommate, or, if you don't want to go completely random, what are some good ways to find someone that might be good to live with?
Sure. So our housing form, like I mentioned earlier, is on that deposited student checklist. It is open. So students can go in and fill in that housing application as long as they are a deposited student, have created their email address. In that application, it'll ask you a bunch of questions about you, the student. And it's best to be completely honest. So if you are a little messier, that's okay. Make sure you indicate that. If you are a night owl and you stay up super late, that's okay. Mention that. Our housing office does a really great job of matching students who have similar living habits. So again, it's good to be as honest as you can. If you know of another student, maybe from your high school, or you've connected another way and you've decided that you both want to live with each other, there is a section on the housing application where you can both list each other's names. So roommate 1 will list roommate 2's name, and roommate 2 will list roommate 1's name. As long as that happens, students will be living with each other. If you don't know of anyone else coming to Marietta, that's okay. That's where the Facebook page is really, students are really just kind of asking questions to get to know others, and in terms of maybe not going fully random, kind of knowing a little bit more, connecting a little bit earlier. So social network channels that we have, like that Facebook page or our Instagram page, a lot of students are using that as learning more about each other.
And then following up on that a little bit, if a student is coming in playing a particular sport or involved with a certain activity, are athletes generally roomed together automatically, or is that something that they have to request as well?
You have to request it. So it's not an automatic thing. Some athletes want to live with non-athletes. Some athletes want to live with a teammate. It's really up to preference. If you are interested in living with someone, maybe on your team, maybe asking your coach, who do you think I would kind of mesh well with, personality-wise. But a lot of athletes also live with non-athletes too. That's completely okay. So whatever works for you, whatever you're wanting to do. Those are good questions.
They are. They're really great questions. So. We don't have any more questions right now, but I'll give the attendees a few minutes. If you think of something else, feel free to ask.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know finding a roommate can be kind of stressful. It's that fear of the unknown, but I promise it's not scary. A lot of really great people coming to Marietta next year. So, and going through that deposited student checklist, again, is really important, but it by no means takes place at our office. So if you feel like you're stuck or you need more clarification, just reach out to your counselor. We can point you in the right direction.
All right. While they're thinking, I'll go ahead and let everyone who's attending knows. So you probably got an email, of course, about this webinar. We're also having one tomorrow evening at the same time at 7 p.m. We'll have President Rude on that webinar, and he'll be answering any viewer questions or any questions that you have about Marietta College. So feel free to tune in. It will be a different link, and that link was sent out in your email. So reference that, and it'll be the same general setup, but we'll have President Rude on here. We're also putting together academic question and answer sessions as well. We're solidifying that schedule, and we should be getting communications out by the end of the week so that you know what to expect. So if you have any questions, if you're going in or interested in different academic areas, we're going to have all the departments or most of them represented in the Q&A. We're also going to have a session for experiential learning. So if you're interested in study abroad, or you're wondering what the Career Center has to offer, or how to get involved on campus with our civic engagement office, we're going to have a variety of different webinars that you can ask those questions and get those answers. So that's another way. If you haven't deposited yet and you need to ask these questions, feel free to join in those once you get the email with all of that information, and those will be great resources as well. All right, great. We've got some more questions coming in. So when do they need to have the finalized financial aid forms completed for things like loans and merit packages?
So that's a really, really important question. I'm glad people are thinking like that. In order for us to be able to access the federal funds that are in your financial aid award, there's 2 steps that students need to do for their student loans. And on the bottom right-hand side of the award letter, there was a website. It's www.studentaid.gov. So students need to go to that website and complete 2 steps. The first step is entrance counseling. The second step is signing a master promissory note electronically. Once those 2 things are done, then the school will be able to access those financial funds. So that's something you can be doing now. While you're at home, you are going to need your FSA ID. So parents, this is something I really, really encourage the students to do, because the loans particularly are in their names. So the entrance counseling is really it's a learning tool. So their students going to get a lot of information, and there's actually a quiz involved where they have to pass 75% of the questions, and they can take it as many times as they need to. But it's really a great opportunity to learn more about student loans, about repayment options, about the interest. And then again, signing the master promissory note, that is the actual contract with the Department of Education for the loans. And so that's the document you're going to use the student's FSA ID to sign electronically. So those are the 2 steps for the federal student aid portion of the financial aid that you need to do. If you have any questions at all about any of the awards that you see in your financial aid award letter, you are welcome to give us a call or to email us at fenaid@marietta.edu, and we would be happy to set up an individual call or a virtual call with you to walk through your student's financial aid award, to answer any questions that you might have. And please keep in mind, I always like to remind students about student loans. You do have the option, if you do not need them or need all of them, to reduce them. So it's not, it's your option. If you have other ways of paying for those charges, you can do that. So we're happy to talk with you about that as well. So in order to get that done, you need to have all of those steps done before you come to campus in August. And I will also mention, if you're selected for verification, and the way you would know if you were selected for verification is you've probably gotten an email, a text from us, or there was a card in your financial aid award packet that said verification. That needs to be completed by July 1st. And so Lisa Henderson in our Office of Student Financial Services is a fantastic resource that can walk you through that process. You probably were also getting emails from a group called KIA, which is the Kentucky Higher Education Authority. They are actually our partners. So please don't ignore those emails or phone calls if you're getting them from KIA. They're here to help you walk through that verification process as well. And that needs to be completed again by July 1st.
Great. And then a follow-up, still on the topic of student loans. we had a question. So the parents can't have the loans in the parents' names versus the student name. How does that work?
Okay, so the loans that your student has on their financial aid award letter, it will say direct subsidized or perhaps direct unsubsidized loans. Those are loans that are in the student's name, and they remain in the student's name. You can't transfer those over to a parent. They will stay with the student. So please be mindful, those are in the student's name. Now, if your family decides, you know what, we don't want the student to take out the loan, maybe the parent wants to take out the loan, you can do that. The parent can either apply for what's called a Parent Plus loan, and that's a loan through the Department of Ed, and parents can apply for that at studentaid.gov. Or you can look at private loans, so through a private bank, any bank that you choose. So if the family decides that, you know, we don't want the student to take out the loans, we want the parents to, that is absolutely an option. We have a wonderful resource in our office, Sam Delball. She can walk you through that process if you have any questions about the loans that are in the financial aid award or what the different options are with private lenders or the plus loan.
And then can you talk a little bit about, we had a question, does Marietta give grants for need-based financial aid?
Yes, we absolutely do. So when you send us your free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, we use that information to determine your eligibility for what's called need-based funds. And those need-based funds can be things like obviously federal grants like the Pell Grant. If you're an Ohio resident, it could be the Ohio College Opportunity Grant. But we also offer Marietta College grants that are need-based to students. I will mention that we don't meet 100% of need. Unfortunately, that we don't have that scale of budget right now, but we do offer need-based grants to students. And if you see in your award letter, Marietta College grant, that's what that is.
All right, can you talk a little bit, can someone talk a little bit about currently how we're supporting our current students through COVID-19?
Well, one of the projects that we just did across the college is we signed up and each one of us got a list of 20 students to call and just talk to them to see how things are going during this time, to see if there was anything that we could do for them or help them with. In my case then, I gave out my number here as well as my cell phone number. So that was something that we're doing that way. We've been having sessions every Thursday on Facebook Live and Instagram Live and YouTube Live for both students and parents to talk about anything that's happening and going on across the campus that way. We have an update on the website for COVID-19, and daily we get an update from our president and we get an update from our academic dean. Our faculty have been reaching out to students and working with them. So we really are keeping them involved. I know in our own office in admissions, which Stacy set up every Thursday at 3:30, we have our students who work for us join us, and we just are there to see what's going on, how they're doing, if there's anything we can support them with, because this is definitely a change for how students learn. This is a big difference. I'm going through that myself with my own son, who's a junior in college, not here at Marietta, someplace else. And after his first week, he's like, Dad, I don't like this online, because he's missing the interaction with his friends. So, you know, it's just, we're really reaching out to our students regularly to provide them all the support that we can. For our graduating seniors, we are doing a virtual graduation on actual graduation day, but then we are also going to have them back sometime in the fall and still go through an actual graduation, because that's a big deal in someone's life, and the students didn't have that opportunity to graduate. So our college is really doing a lot of reaching out to students to making sure they're staying connected, just as if they would be here on campus. Obviously they're not, but we're still doing all of those things. And then Emily and Katie, if there's anything I missed, or Stacy that I didn't think about, please add to what I've said.
I'll just jump in and add one thing. I know some of my student ambassadors and a lot of students kind of struggled getting into their routine when it first went virtual. And some of them that were having challenges, you know, were ones that maybe hadn't had challenges before. But this was also new, and they reached out to their professors and expressed, you know, how they were doing with things, and they all had really great things to say about the faculty members. They were really flexible and understanding and willing to help them make that transition so that the rest of their semester could be finished really strong.
And I'll just add too, we actually do still have a few students still on campus who for one reason or another couldn't go home. Whether that's because they're international students and they couldn't get, you know, flights, or their country's borders are shut, or if there were other reasons why going home was not in the best interest of the students. So we have about 60 students still on campus who are still, you know, going to the cafeteria. That, you know, they're getting all their needs met here. We're providing online virtual tutoring now. There's a whole group network of faculty and staff that are reaching out, as Scott said, to students pretty much on a daily basis. We've adjusted some policies and procedures. We've had some students, for example, who didn't have, for example, a laptop at home that they were able to use. So we've loaned laptops. We've mailed them home to some students to help them with their online learning. We have changed or adapted our academic policy for grades to help be flexible in this time, so that students who are concerned about a grade, you know, we now offer some different options. Instead of traditional letter grades, we are offering, you know, pass-fail grades or things like that. So Marietta College, I think, has done a really great job of stepping up and listening to our students. We've surveyed them, we're asking them what they think. And so they're really helping us sort of decide the way that we handle this. So it's very much a two-way street at Marietta. There's a lot of communication going on.
And one of the things with the pass-fail option too, they have all the way up till the last day of class to still choose that and pick that. So that's pretty nice there, that someone can wait right till the last day. And then by 5 o'clock that day, they can say, you know, I just want to take it pass-fail and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, we don't have any more questions at the moment. Are there any other topics or things that you all thought of throughout this, or anything else you want to add in at the moment?
I would just say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I see the comment that said, whoever, you know, one person wrote, as a parent or prospective student, I really appreciate these information sessions. And we appreciate that. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that we make this college selection process, which kids get stressed out anyways as they're doing this. And this is very different. So we understand that this makes it even more stressful in some cases. And that's what we're here for. So I appreciate the thank you. And again, we're here to help you at all during this process. Call and people will get back to you in a very timely manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was just going to say, if you think of anything else or you need clarification, you're working on completing your admission file, you're wanting to deposit whatever it is, just reach out to your counselor. And if you don't know who that is, we have a general admission email for anything that you may need. So it's admit@marietta.edu. That's ADMIT @marietta.edu. So if you think of anything after tonight, or you just need anything, just shoot us an email and we can, again, point you in the right direction.
Yep, we may not be in the office as usual, but we are still, you know, keeping very busy, keeping everyone engaged and informed, and trying to help everyone out as best that we can. So don't feel bad at all, or don't hesitate at all to reach out. We're happy and here to help you.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you in the fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell all your friends to join the next webinar series as well. So bring all your questions.
President Root is really awesome. So if you can tune in tomorrow, I definitely would.
Thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
I think that's where we'll wrap up. So everyone have a great night, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon in our other webinar series. Bye.
Bye.